Well, hello out there. It's Coach Mark. And today I've got a message. Boy, is this a message. We live in amazing times. And we live in times where anybody at any time can criticize you, can hate on you, especially on social media. And, even as adults, it can be rough because, you just see these people with all this venom and they're coming at you and you don't even know why, okay? But let me tell you where it's really hard. It's really hard for young players, young athletes to withstand that kind of heat. And unfortunately, for a lot of them, they will buckle, they will cave. And so today's message is about how not to let other people steal your dream, okay? So this is a message for parents, grandparents, and players. So here we go. First of all, on your screen right now, you see a quote from Nick Saban. Okay, most of you know who he is, one of the most successful college football coaches of all time. And, he took an enormous amount of criticism. His teams took criticism. And, what he's saying in this quote is that people that are doing extraordinary things, people that have very high degrees of excellence, don't have a lot in common with people who don't. Okay, they're like water and oil. So the first thing I want to say about this subject today is that you can't be afraid to put yourself out there because you have to understand you are in the minority of the people that are going to be willing to do the things that are required of you to get where you want to go. When I was a kid, my dad gave me a saying. It was something like this: if you want what most people don't have, you have to be willing to do what most people don't do. And, as a young kid, that really made sense to me. So every time I found myself what I call swimming against the current, I'm doing things that most people aren't willing to do. And I could do a whole series on all the crazy things that I did in my athletic career and my professional business career that were just crazy. Okay, crazy things that, I just knew most people wouldn't do, but I had a burning desire. Well, there are a lot of people out there that kind of resent that. They don't want you to go out there and do all these things and leave them behind. So for a young athlete, let me give you a couple examples of where that might show up. Your son could be on a local team and, he's with all of his buddies. And at the moment that he decides he wants to get on, let's say, an elite level team and leave his buddies, he is going to put himself out there and he could very easily face some criticism. People say things like, oh, so you're not good enough. Or sorry, we're not good enough for you. You have to move on. You're leaving us in the dust. And some kids will decide not to go off and do the thing that they actually needed to do because of that kind of pressure. Then you got parents that are going to rain on that parade. I will tell you, I've seen a lot of this dynamic unfold, and the kids that have the chance to move on and want to move on, a lot of times the parents do everything they can to stop that from happening. Why? Because if Johnny is the best player on our team and he's moving on, what's that mean to us? We're stuck here. We're here. We don't have an opportunity to move on. And boy, they can be, put a lot of pressure on people. And so I want to, number one, forewarn you that if you're going to do some pretty spectacular things, you're going to be distancing yourself in many ways from the pack, and you're going to be under fire. Okay, so that's one way. Let me give you another real-life example of how this happened to one of the players that I coached. He was a super talented young man, and this is back in the day when you could commit early, and he committed to Vanderbilt in 9th grade. Okay, 9th grade. It's pretty early. But he was good enough, and we knew he was going to have an amazing career, which he did. But wouldn't you know that as a freshman in high school, every time that his high school team played an away game, and in his particular area in Pittsburgh, the high schools really support their baseball. So they have huge fan support and student sections. Well, every single time he came up to bat as a ninth grader, guess what the chant was? Overrated. You know that one? Overrated. You know, just a bunch of kids hating on a kid that worked his butt off to reach a goal. And that group of students, and I know they're students, okay, but they're hating on them and calling them overrated. Well, guess what? It didn't stop. It got bigger. His 10th grade year, his 11th grade year, his 12th grade year, he had to hear for 4 years in high school, overrated everywhere he went. Well, he got the last laugh because he went to Vanderbilt, had an amazing career there. Tim Corbin speaks very, very highly of this young man. So I really had so much respect for him and his family because they took the high road. He didn't get caught up in it. He didn't let it bother him. And, you know, he had an amazing career. So there are just so many opportunities coming your way. If you're willing to put yourself out there, that you are going to take on some heat. I mean, I'll put a post out that is just designed to help players, just designed to help parents. And the keyboard warriors are out there ready to just hate on the post. Now, I'm 61 years old, so it doesn't faze me in the least, but it's just amazing that people are willing to do that. And they're willing to do it even with young kids. It's just crazy times. So that's the message today. You know, I don't care who you are. You could be Mother Teresa. You can be, I mean, obviously the people in the politics are getting just bashed at every level. But, you know, Tim Tebow, great guy. People hating on him. Steve Bezos, you know, Elon Musk. Anybody that's doing anything extraordinary, you don't even have to agree with them or not agree with them, but they're doing something extraordinary. You got all these people hating on them. So I want to encourage you to do something extraordinary. Be willing to step out and do things differently because you want something that most people are not going to get. You have to be willing to do things that most people are not willing to do, and that includes taking on the heat from the haters. So when you get that going on, instead of it helping or hurting you, use it to strengthen you. You know, every time I see that, I go, wow, there's a lot of people out there that don't want good people to succeed. I don't know why, but they don't. And that just fuels my motivation. So I want the same for you. So that's the message for today. I hope it helps. As always, we'll talk to you later. God bless.
So who are you going to call? Yes, you remember the old movie Ghostbusters. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters, right? Well, we all know that when you have a tax issue, you call your accountant. Or a legal issue, you call your attorney. Or a medical issue, you call your doctor, right? But who do you call when you have questions about youth sports and helping your son go through the process of baseball and he wants to play at a high level and you're a parent? It's not what you do for a living. So who do you call? Well, the answer for most people is nobody. But that's because they don't know about the ambassadors group. We are a group of people that are professionals in the field of helping athletes in baseball move on through the journey to the next level. So if you're the kind of person that feels like you need help, and most everybody does, then just reach out to us. Set up a private one-on-one consultation with us. Let us explain to you what we do to help these young athletes. I think you'll be really impressed. And for our clients, there's a giant sigh of relief that they have somebody in their corner helping them go through this crazy thing that we call youth sports. Okay? Book your call today.